All right, we're going to learn how to use the crew loadouts and the crew sharing feature within the Fire Manifesting app. So crew loadouts are just your way of quickly navigating in between different crew setups that you might have without losing the original data that you inputted in. So right now, I have my crew here, 22 people, 6,600 pounds to include people and gear. If I want to save this to ensure if I make any changes, I can always revert back to that. I'm going to create a new loadout. I'm going to navigate to settings, crew loadouts, save new. I'm going to call this one crew main just to indicate that this is my entire crew. This is the normal setup that I'm usually working with. So when you create a crew loadout, there's going to be a green timestamp that shows up underneath it initially. So if you start making any changes to your crew, you start deleting people, you start modifying tools, and you start modifying gear or trip preferences. I'm going to delete this. You're going to see that in the settings, the timestamp shows up red. And that just tells you that your crew loadout is out of sync from what it used to be. So if you tap on that, you're going to see all the different loadout changes that you've made. If you like those changes, click on this green timestamp here, and you can update it to a new version. If you don't like those, click on the loadout and reset it back to how you used to have it. So now we're back to how we originally had it. Another thing to note here too is if you delete your crew loadout for whatever reason, it's not a destructive action. Your crew data is still there. You're just not working in a loadout, which can be dangerous if you start making any changes because then you can't revert back to what you used to have. So it's always a smart idea to work within a crew loadout. Another useful part of using the crew loadouts is, say, for example, you're a single resource or you're just a crew member who's apart from their crew and you're not wanting to use all of your crew members when you use the internal or external manifest features. So what you can do is, say you're on a fire and you're not using your typical crew setup, you might name this crew loadout, whatever the fire is or whatever you want to name it. You're going to save it, navigate back to the crew page, and you'll see that now you have no people or gear. You just start from scratch working with the gear that's available to you. And then whenever you reunite back with your crew, you just navigate back to the crew main and you're back with your original crew data. So another feature is the crew sharing feature, which allows you to have one person on your crew or organization manage all of your crew data and share that with others. That way, everyone on the crew doesn't have to input everyone on the crew 22 different times. So to share, click on the crew sharing, and you're gonna have an export and import option. So if you click export, it's gonna show up as what is called a JSON file, which is just a way of encoding your crew information. So on iOS, you can airdrop that to others, which is super easy. They just save it to their files and they use the crew sharing import option to import it into their app. Or you can just save it to your files, which is also a good practice to save it. And it's going to label it something like crew data with the current date. So keep this original file saved on your phone or device somewhere. That way, if anything happens in the future on the app, something gets deleted, something gets changed, you lose the original, you can always import it back in from your saved files. Also to note, if your file is saved within some sort of cloud storage on iOS, just click on this options icon. Right now I have Google Drive saved, but if I want to have like Acrobat or some other cloud device saved, I just toggle it on and it's going to pop up on this bar. I click on it and my files are going to show up. So if you want to import, it's super easy, simple, straightforward. Just click import and you can import it in from your files. However, when you import in, it's going to overwrite all the existing crew data that you have currently. So if you're importing in from a specific loadout, it's going to overwrite over top of that and your timestamp is going to go red. So if it's a new setup that you're importing, it's a good practice to either save a new crew loadout or just start from empty. So let's say this one's new. I'm going to import one of the crew data files. It's going to import. It's going to show up as red because I just added a bunch of individuals, people, and gear. And I just update that timestamp. And now I have this loadout, but I can also navigate back to my main file. On Android, the process is very similar. It's almost identical. The only difference is you might not have some sort of airdrop-like feature. Some devices have quick share, but most of the time you're just going to have to save it to either your Google Drive or files and send it to other users or crew members over the internet. So that concludes this tutorial for crew loadouts, crew sharing. If you have any questions, there's more information in the quick guide. And if you need a live support chat to talk to me individually or one-on-one, just click on the support chat. It's going to open up Discord, accept the invite, and you can post your questions there.